Good day, good afternoon, good night. How you doing? This is MCM and you're listening to You're Probably Right. Today we are going to have a serious conversation. Well, maybe not a serious conversation, but there's going to be a serious talk happening here. Now, of course, I'm only doing the talking, but just stay tuned. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is yours truly, MCM, and this is You're Probably Right podcast. Hold on, let me turn down this music in my ear. That's better. Okay, so I was going to talk about stuff last time, but I didn't want to mix up the two topics. It'd be kind of weird. So, we're going to look at something weird, something that I shouldn't even probably touch. It's called 12 Types of Loser Guys, How to Spot Them Before It's Too Late. Okay, it's an article. It's not really a podcast, but I'm talking about it. So let's check it and see what's up with it. Okay, in 2022, finding a fantastic guy seems sometimes, Fantastic guy sometimes feels like trying to find a grain of rice in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Almost impossible. Oh, this is funny. Let me turn this music off. I'm sorry. Hold up. All right. Okay. Let's see what it says. Okay. So you heard that, right? Okay, remember, this is You're Probably Right podcast. I am MCM, and you're welcome at my house anytime. But remember, don't bring your ass over here. No, okay, I'm just messing with you. Listen, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. This one and the 70 some odd previous episodes are all for entertainment purposes only. I do not profess to be a professor of any sort, of any kind. I am just the dude talking in your ear, and I'm just joking. And I'm just talking, okay? So you're getting my 2 cents, and my 2 cents might be opinion. It might be someone else's opinion. It might be just comedy. So please don't take it to heart. Don't get upset. And don't email me nonsense, because I will not respond, but I will laugh. Okay. So as I was saying, finding a fantastic guy sometimes feels like trying to find a grain of rice in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Almost impossible. But it's not. There are some amazing men out there among the losers, and it's just a question of exercising good judgment to save you the time and the agony. Below are some of the worst kinds of loser guys and how to spot them before you get stuck. Please note, all men exhibit some of these losery traits. What makes a guy truly terrible is if he engages in these behaviors to the degree that it becomes an ongoing problem for their partner. Interesting, right? Okay. So I'm going to go through these. I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually fight through this whole thing. I mean, it's just 12 of them and it's not a lot. I'm going to read off what these people have to say. This is from bold.com, 12 types of losers, spotlight, whatever it is. But it could be totally nonsense. You might hear me, apparently what it's called, mansplaining. But that's how it's going to be. All right, let's go. So, the first sucker, the offender, the guy who ignores your texts and calls. What to watch for, his communication habits. Okay. A guy should respond to your texts or calls within a reasonable time frame. Okay, so this is what they're saying, and I'm saying, what is a reasonable time frame? Is it the next day? Is it he texts you, right now, and you text back in an hour? What if you're working out? What if you're at, what if you're playing hockey? What if you're at church? What if you're at work? Are you supposed to just drop everything and text back? There's many cases in many of those situations that I just spoke about, like church, like work, like with the guys playing hockey or at the gym, like where it's not cool, it's not etiquette to be pulling out your phone just texting because somebody happens to text you at a bad time. But anyway, let's go on further and see what they're saying. If he's taking an unusual long time to get back to you or ignoring some of your attempts to reach out altogether, cut bait. Nothing good comes from a guy who can't even push some buttons on a phone for you. In fact, you shouldn't be messing with someone who isn't regularly initiating communication with you. I'll take that. Yeah, that ending part there, yeah. If he's not reaching out and making the connection or communications with you at some level on his own without having to only just respond to you, then yeah, that's probably not a cool guy. But the fact that they're saying over a long period of time, there are extenuating circumstances where that's just going to happen. You may not know what he's doing every second of the day. And it doesn't mean just because this guy gets back a couple times an hour late, just because you're excited, it doesn't mean that nothing else is happening in his life. I mean, would you prefer that or the guy who keeps texting you over and over and over? Right. So the bottom line is there needs to be some balance. So yeah, you don't want the guy who's texting you every 5 seconds at all times of the day. And then you don't want the guy who doesn't text back at all. So find your balance there. But they say that's the number one offender, apparently. Interesting. Bull.com, everyone. Check out what is this? Okay, this is just some random thing here. Okay. Shameless plug. Well, I won't be reading that here, buddy. All right. Number 2. The offender. Let's see. The guy who cheats. What to watch for. His ethical vibe and his selfishness level. Well, I can honestly tell you, yes, if it was your mother or your sister or your good friend, you wouldn't want them to go with a guy who cheats. But let's go into it a little deeper and see what they're really saying. Of all the loser guys out there, this one has to be the worst. Guys who cheat are weak creatures with weak moral frameworks. They're needs driven, not principle driven. What you want is a disciplined guy who plays fair and by the rules. A guy who gives you the sense that he would do the right thing even if it means going without. If the guy you're with has a selfish streak or is coming off like he lacks character, move on. Cheaters are BS. Okay, so the only thing I'm going to say is, of course, this goes both ways. And I can honestly say that I've done this. I've cheated before, so I can honestly straight up say it. I'm not trying to sit here and play high and mighty, nor am I trying to grovel in the dirt. But at the same time, you have to understand there are extenuating circumstances why this happens. Because, and I'm just asking for people to be honest. Now, there are, just to lump all cheaters and all people who have been unfaithful or infidelity all into one is a mistake. Because, yeah, there's guys who just can't get enough and they need more attention or they need more action, whatever the case is, so they go elsewhere to get it. But then there also are the people who get in relationships with these guys who are all into it, whatever, whenever, however, at the beginning of the relationship. And then what happens? They scale back everything, the time, the when, the how, big time, which is frustrating. So you're right. I would say, yes, you want a person who doesn't have a selfish streak, but you have to look at it. Are you the one with the selfish streak? Are you the one who is caring about yourself more than the other person in the relationship? Are you the one who came in all this and that at the beginning and then there's none of that in the middle range? Of course. guys get frustrated with that kind of behavior and they get upset and they do end up cheating. And most good guys are not proud of it. And most of these guys do not cheat with more than one situation or one person outside. If they're all over the place, then yeah. But if it's a situation where you know that you have a little to do with that situation, then you may want to check on that as well. But yeah, to tell you the truth, if I was being 100% honest, I would say that yes, a guy should have principles. But the only thing that's a little bit sketchy is when you start off this way and then you all of a sudden go back over here and then you blame it on headaches and this and that and this and the other thing and that and that and that and that and that, and there's nothing that you would even do to try to mitigate your shortcomings in those areas which would cause a man to cheat. And as I said, I'm trying to keep it clean, so I'm not going to get into or in depth in what I'm talking about. But if there is no substitutes for regular behaviors in certain areas, then yeah, guys do work with a lot of testosterone. They have to deal with their selfishness. They have to deal with being upright and not cheat. So don't think for a second that I am saying that it's okay or there are reasons, but all I'm saying is be honest. When you're picking out somebody to be in a relationship with, to be married to, do not draw them in and then when you have them married or whatever, switch up the rules. That would be my answer to that, or that would be my caveat to what they're saying as far as a guy who cheats. Number 3, sponsored. What is this? They keep sticking it in here. I just wanted to, okay, wait, hold on. The first. Okay, they're really trying to push this quiz, so I'm just going to say it. It says number 3, sponsored, a quiz that tells you what's holding you back in love. So maybe you want to check it out? Go ahead. Check out Sweden. Okay. Whatever. And it's spelled SWEETN. That's it. All right. I don't know why they put it in like that. Strange. That's not even number 3. Why would they put it like that? Okay. I don't care. So number 4, the offender. The guy with terrible conflict management skills. What to watch for? His temperament. Right. Be wary if he loses his temper easily or has a tendency to get defensive when you try to work through issues. A good guy will take an interest in your needs, listen to you when you have something to say, and communicate productively with you even when he doesn't agree. That guy's hot, not the one who bees or shouts and throws stuff all around or punches walls or hits you, obviously. Which they don't even really talk about. I just kind of added that on the end there. So yes, you definitely want a guy who has control. If he's not all about his emotions and he's not all selfish looking for a new partner and he's not looking to knock somebody's head off, then you might be barking up the right tree. Just to be simple with it. Number 5, the offender. The guy with no manners or sense of romance. What to watch for? This is interesting. Whether he cares about the little things. The big things are great, but the small gestures count for a lot and can make the difference between a relationship or a bad relationship. If you've ever been with a guy who doesn't have a romantic, chivalrous bone in his body, you know how nice it is to feel when a guy opens a door for you, plans a romantic date, or texts you to tell you he's thinking of you for no reason. Some of us ladies need/expect more of this kind of stuff than others, but we all need a little bit. This is one of the most common types of loser guys you'll come across, sadly. So the little things, right? So yes, he should text you and just tell you that he's thinking of you. Obviously, you don't want it all the time, because then he's just creepy and he's needy and all that other stuff, apparently. I say apparently. Well, I've been that guy. Maybe too available, I would say. Guys need to find their own thing. You definitely want a guy who takes care of the little things, that would pack you a lunch, that would maybe write in the side of a banana, "I love you," and pack your lunch, and do the dishes because you're tired, or maybe he just does them, or maybe vacuum, or maybe wash your car, or top up your washer fluid in your car. Just the little things. And yes, plan a romantic night out for you both, and not just say, where do you want to go? I'll go, we can go wherever you want. Like, yeah, I get it. So yeah, that one's good too. So guy, 100%, who has manners and a sense of romance. And yes, opening doors, sure. You shouldn't just always be a chirp chirp and the door's open on your side and let yourself in or let yourself out, or whatever the case is. Number 6, the offender, the guy who's hot and cold. What to watch for? Consistency. Guys who are all over the place are seriously annoying, not to mention messed up. They're not actually wavering or confused. They're just selfish and manipulative. They act like they want you when they're feeling bored, lonely, or, and then they go MIA when they don't need anything. Bottom line, any guy who is not consistently making you a priority, does not deserve your time, no matter how hot or charming he is. That's what they say. So let's see, from the guy's point of view, I guess, and I have to pull on my own experience and my own mistakes to really speak to this. Many of us guys have been this way, unfortunately. Every once in a while, we get a little cold, and I can tell you from experience and from guys that I've spoken to that sometimes if a guy, we get tired. So, and it may not only be because of the situation that went down, but sometimes we get tired. If we have to fight and chase you all the time for the same thing, and then when we get it, it's not exactly what we thought it was going to be, then we might get a little disinterested if it's going to be that struggle and that fight every time. So, yeah, if everything's cool, everything's cool. And if there's a reciprocation in most situations and there's not a huge struggle, we don't have to behave as if we just met every single time, then, things are going to be nice. But if it's a struggle to, have normal conversation, or you're around and you're into some of the stuff that we're into, sometimes it can only be us bending our attractions, our likes, our dislikes, or whatever. We can't be always the ones bending on every situation from a guy's point of view. And yeah, intimacy in a marriage, yeah, we don't have to chase you down every time, at least. Or if we got to chase you, then at least allow us to catch you or be in the right at some level. But if it has to be a thing where you turn a guy down 4 times out of 5 times every time, and then there's an excuse, or, there's all kinds of tricks that women play as well. Sometimes, guys wonder why you even want to be in a relationship with them, or you want to be in a marriage with the guy. It's like you turn him down, and then you say something like, "Oh, well, we could have if you said something earlier, but it's my period." That stuff is frustrating. So yeah, you don't want a guy who is hot and cold, but some of the tricks, it's sad. because, women get into these relationships and they want a provider, they want a protector, they want a partner, they want someone to come home to talk to snuggle with, to hug, and someone to share their lives, to raise children, and to, plant a garden, drive and hang out with, go out with. They want all these different things, and most of the guys' needs are very simple. Most guys ask for very little of their women. But for some reason, the little that we ask is generally too much for some reason. And that's why you get some of these so-called losers. So all I would say is that if you're really discrediting this person or calling these guys losers just because of one of these things or a couple of these things on this list, all I'm going to say is before you dedicate your mind to saying that this person is a loser, just look at what you are contributing to the situation as well. All right. 7, the offender, the lazy guy. What to watch for? How quickly he stops trying. Yes, so women like to be chased. But let's see what they're talking about. Everyone gets a little lazy in relationships. That's not the big deal. What is the big deal is how quickly the laziness sets in and how dramatic the drop in effort is. If he stops doing the basics as soon as he has you, you might need to pull back until he gets his act together. You hear that? You may need to pull back. Wrong. So basically, as soon as he gets you, and usually what area do women tend to pull back in when they feel this? Let's just read on how they say it instead of me cutting off, but it's just kind of annoying. You might need to pull back until he gets his act in order. So there has to be some type of discipline, basically. Discipline your man. Okay, sorry, I'm cutting again. Act till he gets his act together and realize that you have standards. If he doesn't, he's a loser. There are plenty of other guys out there that will step up to the plate. Well, first of all, you probably shouldn't be giving it up unless you're married. I'm just being honest as a Christian. So if you're giving it up and then all of a sudden he stops opening doors, he stops cooking you food, he stops taking you out on dates, he stops watching movies or, some chick flicks or whatever you want to call them, and he's not into doing the simple little things, and he was playing the long game when you made him wait and now he isn't. You gave it up. You shouldn't have gave it up in the first place, but don't try the discipline things because guys will walk as well. And maybe the reason why he'll be willing to walk is because maybe what you're giving him ain't all that in the first place. So I would just caution any woman who really thinks that the best thing is to pull back and to teach him a lesson like he's a child. All right. 8. And remember, this is my opinion. And remember that it might not be in my opinion. It's just entertainment. Although it might not be very entertaining. The offender. The guy whose life is just a mess. What to watch out for? How he handles his career. Having a solid career is often a guy's biggest priority. So if a guy's career isn't sorted out, he probably doesn't feel great about himself. And other parts of his life are like a mess too. At the very least, a dude needs to have a J-O-B that pays the bills. If he doesn't have that, it likely won't work, and we won't recommend you stick around to find out. Okay, so the guy doesn't feel good about himself. His job isn't what he wants it to be. They're saying the best thing to do is ditch him. So he loves you, you love him, and he might need some help. We don't know what type of parents he had or what kind of upbringing he had or how he was raised or what kind of education or what kind of school he got into, but they're saying that this guy is probably the best guy just to bounce on. Now listen, maybe you see him and he's a diamond in the rough. If they're just telling you just to go with diamonds, which is basically what they're insinuating here, well, good luck. You may have a guy that you might be able to help motivate to get his career off the ground. There's a lot of people, men and women, who have been helped out in their careers or their education by spouses, by partners. So for these people just to say, because things are not exactly how you think they should be or how he would like them, or check this part, he probably doesn't feel great about himself. So you have a guy who probably doesn't feel great about himself, and let's see, and other parts of his life are like a mess too. At least he needs to have a job, sure. So you're saying that's okay, but then he says if he doesn't have that, like a job that pays the bills, so a good job that's paying most of the bills or whatever, all the bills, it's likely it won't work, and don't recommend you stick around. So I would definitely disagree with this one. Again, there are levels to this, right? Because there are guys who can get good jobs and get good pay, and they won't even actually keep those jobs because it's going to be too much. They're going to want to go off surfing somewhere or finding themselves way out in Tibet or backpacking through Thailand or whatever it is. So be careful about just because the guy has a good job that can pay bills, because he may not be stable otherwise either. So I would look at, before I would look at how much he makes, I would look at how stable he is. And if he's stable at a low paying job, then guess what? Once he figures it out and can get a high paying job, he'll probably be stable there as well. So be careful with that one again. The offender, number 9. The guy who cares more about his job than you. What to watch for? His interest in balance. Okay. Like we said, a guy needs a job from which he draws income and some sense of self-worth. So he finds self-worth in his job. Okay, they added that in. Okay. But taking that too far by being a workaholic or always chooses to put work first is not cool. So yes, I'll just butt right in there. He shouldn't put work first all the time forever, but you knew that he was a career man when you got him in the first place. So if he has very little time for his other events or you, and you know that it probably won't be that way all the time, but I mean, that's what you signed up for in the first place. So if you know that he was a workaholic and he didn't have a lot of times and you were still trying to arrange dates and events with him anyways, then don't all of a sudden just cut out on him because he's working his butt off. But I mean, you don't want it. You want the adverse. You want the guy who's not going to be around, or the guy who's around too much and not making the money that this guy's making. So I think there is balance. So yes, you do want a guy who can find some type of balance. But again, if you met him one way, don't expect all of a sudden everything's going to change just because he's with you. Okay, some things like his work may not change. You have to look at it. If he's an emergency doctor, or he's an on-call doctor, or he's an on-call plumber, or an on-call anything, or he's actually running his business, everybody knows a person who runs their business doesn't work 35 hours or 40 hours a week. Bottom line. Exceptions include brain surgeons, there we go, astronauts, currently on a mission, a member of the SEAL team. Okay. If a guy wants to be with someone, he has to find time for them. If he's not willing to or able to do that, he should just be by himself until he has more bandwidth. You deserve proper attention. But we won't talk about whether or not you're attention seeking and whether he's just working a regular job and gonna be able to pay your bills. But anyways, I won't even, however that sounds, if that sounds cool to you, then I say, yeah, sure, drop that guy, and I'm sure he'll have a hard time finding somebody else after you, but whatever. Okay, 10, the offender, the guy who drinks way too much. What to watch for? Restraint. A man whose idea of the best night ever is getting wasted with the guys and never remembering anything the following morning. He's a loser. Drinking is fun, unless you don't know how to stop before it gets unfun. If he has no self-control when it comes to the booze, signs including getting drunk versus tipsy. When it's just the two of you, your dates should be more about connection than getting plastered or blasted. Being over interested in activities that involve tequila not being able to go home before last call, and just generally loving alcohol way too much, you should exit scene. This sitch, okay, is going to get way ugly. Okay, situation, great. This sitch is going to get way ugly before it gets better, if ever. Okay, so you're talking about an alcoholic, basically, or just a booze hound. You're right. He may have a problem. He may need to go to AAA or AA, whatever it is. AAA, that's funny. But I don't drink, so I would obviously say, and as a Christian, and we're supposed to obviously know that wine is a mocker, and that's all alcohol. Alcohol, if you drink too much of it, will make a fool of you and those around you in most cases. So yeah, if you have somebody who it's 11:58 and they're cruising for a bruising when it comes to alcohol, then yeah, this might be not the guy for you. And I mean, I'm saying 11:58 in the morning. So, and all the other stuff that they said there, I would say they're right on target there. But yeah, you shouldn't need, like it says, drinking is fun. I don't know how fun drinking really could or should be, really. The motive behind it all shouldn't be to not be yourself in the first place. So if you're with someone who needs any type of stimulant, whether it be an aspirin, a sleeping pill, upper or a downer, or any type of alcohol, just so they can be around you or just so they can be fun, they need any type of stimulant for courage, then I would say skip that one and move on to one who is not so needy when it comes to chemicals or anything else. All right, number 11, the offender, the guy who's not ready to commit, aka the guy who just wants to hang out, Netflix and chill. What to watch for? Momentum. Healthy relationships are always going somewhere toward or forward. When okay. When two people are really connecting, they move towards commitment, engagement, marriage, or just towards building an even more satisfying relationship and life together. As you get to know a guy, pay attention to whether the momentum is there. Yeah, you don't want to be treadmilling in your relationship. Where is this going? Or he's getting ticked off because you're asking about more committed type things, or asking, how many kids you want, or asking where do you think you'd want to get married. Like give it some time, but it shouldn't take too much time to know what direction you're going in. Let me go back to what these guys are saying. So many guys just want to hang out and kick it. That you may not even know what forward propulsion looks like, but trust us, you'll know it when you see it. And if you're not feeling it, pull back. If he's ever going to treat you well, you disengaging will give him that chance to step it up. If he doesn't find someone, find someone who will. Okay, so yeah, if he's playing the fool with you, don't take it. Period. Honestly. But again, there are exceptions. In other words, if it's just like a couple times here and there, and there's no momentum because other stuff's happening to him, he may be pulling back because other things are stressing him out, and he's having a hard time looking at what you're looking at the particular time. So just make sure you're making wild choices and you're not just cutting someone off because you don't seem like he's pulling things in the right direction, because also there could be a little wishy-washiness with his decision makings in that respect, or not even knowing the signals, because he may not be all of that, he may not have all that experience in these situations. So just be careful when you got a guy who seems like he's spinning his wheels or treadmilling in your relationship. Okay, the offender, the guy who's insecure. What to watch for: his needs for attention and validation. One of the worst types of loser guys that are also too common. Sadly, we all know that men have egos that require tending. But some men's egos, are a real problem. Like the guy who's threatened by your success, he'll compete with you instead of being happy for you, and he'll minimize your accomplishments to make you feel small. Or the guy who needs to show off, he's the one who flirts with waitresses in front of you and can't shut up about how hot his exes were or how many women want him. These guys are men, they're boys. Pass. Yeah, I thought that was going to go a little bit different with the insecurity, but apparently they didn't really get into it. But yeah, be wary of guys who are insecure, you know. And I would also say to you, because they didn't really get into it, if the guy is insecure, you got to look at it. Are you doing anything to make him insecure? Are you keeping your focus on him when you're at dinner? Or are you talking and looking at every other dude that's in the area as well? Because yeah, you might be making him a little feel it, or I guess you can't really make him feel insecure, but you might be doing things promoting it. But yeah, guys talking to the waitress and talking about how sweet his exes were and all the good stuff that his exes or her exes used to do and all those kinds of funny things that they do. Yeah, be very, very cautious with these people. I mean, if they're gonna give so much props to their exes, and you know they had a bad split or what the case is, but yet they're still giving props to this person more than they ever praise you for anything that you do, then you may want to step past this one, because they're probably going to continue that behavior in the future. And Lord help you if they've already had a committed relationship with kids and everything else, because that's only going to get worse, especially if they keep praising that person that they got out of the relationship with in front of you and talking about how great they are and how great they were. That doesn't stop. It only continues, and it generally only gets worse. And at the end of the day, if they think that person is so amazing, guess what? One day they might just get back together. But anyway, that's just me. As I said, they talked about a guy who's insecure, but they didn't really talk about that. They were talking about a childish guy. That wasn't really the insecure guy. That's not the guy you really gotta watch out for at that case. Anyhow, the last one. Let's see. Oh no, let's see. Okay, let me just see what it says here. 13. The guy who's cheap. What to watch out for? His generosity level. Okay. He's a loser because he's one of those guys who think he's woke. Well, wokeness is already messed up anyways. For being anti-chivalry. Anti-chivalry? Okay. Did he pay for the first couple dates? A guy who doesn't need to be rich or pay for everything all the time, but he doesn't have to be rich and he shouldn't have to pay for everything every time, but he absolutely should pay for the first date, and ideally for the first few dates. And after all, we women usually spend more just to get to a date. Blowout, mani-pedi, waxing, new dress, than most dinners for two costs. Good men understand this and reward effort. Also, when a guy is into you, he wants to pay because he wants to impress you with his ability to provide for you. His primal thing. Ergo, if the guy isn't paying, he's not into you. But whatever's, go find someone who is. Yeah, so that's right on. That's right on. So let's see. It says things to keep in mind when it comes to losers. But I'll let you check out the rest of it. And there's a few more other things. Let's see who this wonderful person who wrote this. They were kind of off here and there, but this was written by somebody named Hallie K. So again, this is from bold.com. 12 types of losers to spot before it's too late. And that's where I'll leave it there. It's pretty good. I did have some qualms about their ideas, but I mean, who knows? This person could have been 30 or 21 or 16 for all we know. They didn't sound too experienced, but anyway, it is what it is. I'm not going to diss the person. I mean, they did type out their whole article and everything. I think there's not always 100% rule in any of those things, but at least it's something good. There's a starting point there to kind of get you thinking about what you're in, or what you're looking for, or what you're going through, or what you went through. So from that respect, yeah, but just remember, it does take two, as they say, to tango. And if you're not holding up your end of the bargain, don't think that he should hold up his. And if you're tricking people into relationships and then pulling back because you think there's something they're not doing, or you think you need to lay the smack down on discipline with a man or a woman in these ways, then or in any ways, it's probably not going to work out for you. So think about that. Anyhow, this is MCM again, and this is You're Probably Right. You are welcome at my house anytime. And again, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. I do not profess to know everything, nor do I profess to be a professor of anything. All right, take care and see you again. Hey, come check out You're Probably Right podcast. Society is getting more unpredictable every day, but at the same time, predictable in its unpredictability. Say that 4 times real fast. Come with me as I attempt to find clarity in all the fog while staying way outside the box and kicking the box way down the road with my size 12 dogs. I use the Bible, experience, education, fortune, misfortune, life's lessons, life's mistakes to sort through all the mess. I talk about news, God, God, self-help, sports, sickness, health, music, parenting, love, humbleness, hurt, pain, joy, and all the things that might make you say, I never thought of it that way. Hopefully, anyway. Also, I take a stab at answering tough and not so tough questions, and all the while understand that, listen, sometimes you end up in the hot seat and there's no thermostat. Well, that's how it is here. And because there's no topic, very few topics off the table, Torontonians will understand that Doug Ford reference there. Hopefully the podcast will be helpful and uplifting. And hey, maybe you'll find your own private Idaho here somewhere. Hope to see you soon.